What's going on, guys? This is Abel from Revamp Fit. After you curl, stand back up. I need some more. I need a challenge. Next time I'll bring the heavy one. Hey, what's going on, guys? Today we're gonna go over a series of 7 dynamic stretches that you can incorporate in your daily morning routine. So these movements are gonna get you ready for work, for school, or whatever you have to do for the rest of the day. All right. And also, one thing I want to remind you is when you're doing these movements, it's important to do some conscious breathing, because if you're doing rapid breathing, what's going to happen is it's going to be a lot harder for you to get into the range of motion you want, and it's going to be a lot harder for you to relax. All right. So the first thing we're going to tackle is a lot of stretches for the core, because you're sleeping for about 6 to 8 hours, hopefully. So we want to make sure we loosen that up. So we're going to go over the 3-plane core stretch, starting with the first one. So we're going to do the forward bending. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to have our hands all the way up, right? Neutral positioning with our hands. And from here, we're just going to practice breathing out consciously, reaching down, and then reaching back up. So this is going to target the whole posterior chain, starting from the hamstrings to the lower back to the shoulders. And it's just a very great warm-up exercise for you to get going. Right? So you could do this movement for about 30 to 45 seconds. The second movement is going to be in the transverse plane. So we're going to tackle on the obliques this time around. So we're going to have our legs about shoulder width apart. We're going to have our elbows up. And what we're going to do is we're going to rotate from the left, right? We're going to look back and rotate to the right. So you can add some pausing, right? So you can pause on one side, breathe out, right? Rotate back, look over. So that rotation is really healthy for your spine, just to unload all that stress that's been on since you've been laying on it throughout the night. All right, so we're gonna give you guys one more stretch we're gonna tackle. This is gonna be the side bending, and this is gonna be the last plane of motion. So we're gonna have our hands together, right? And what we're gonna do is we're gonna stretch the lats by going side to side. So we're gonna go from the left, breathe out with your mouth consciously, and then we're gonna go up and go to the right. By putting 2 hands together, what you're doing is you're adding more resistance, right? So if this is too much of a deep stretch for you, you can do it 1 hand at a time. So Muhammad, if you can drop your right arm down, all right? There you go. All right, now you're gonna go to one side, just do a simple bend, and then another, right? So that's a little less intense on the stretching, all right? So those are the 3 core stretches that we just went over. Now we're gonna dive on to the lower body. So the first motion we're going to be practicing is going to open up our hips, get our legs ready since they've been inactive for a number of hours. So we're going to practice doing some squatting and work on our thoracic spine too. So we're going to have our legs about shoulder width apart, if not a little wider. We're going to have our hands go right into our leg, right? Make sure it's straight first. And then we're going to break our knees even. Right? We're going to pick our hands up, pause for a second, right? Make sure your hands are neutral like this, turn them out, and then stand back up. Good. So it's important to do deep breathing, so make sure you're breathing through your mouth, Muhammad. All right, so reach down again, legs straight, break your knees even, good. Hands up, quick pause for the ISO, and stand up. Good. So 8 to 10 reps, or maybe 30 to 60 seconds is good for that movement, and it will really get your legs moving on, all right? So diving on to the second lower body movement, we're gonna tackle the lateral side of the hips. So since we worked on the inside and worked on the big glute muscles, now we're gonna hit the side of the muscles, all right? So the first one we're gonna practice doing, we're gonna pick one leg up, so your right leg up in the air, and then you're gonna grab your ankle and you're gonna pull it in. Good. And then you're gonna bring it back down. And then you're gonna do the other leg. Good. Back down. A little bit of balance work too. Good. First bring the knee up, Muhammad, and then you're gonna grab your ankle and yank up. Good. So this stretch is super important because more than likely your glute mid and your piriformis is very shortened throughout the day from excessive sitting. And if it's too irritated, what happens is the nerve that runs directly underneath is going to be irritated, and you might experience some pain in your hamstrings, pain in your hips, or your glutes, so we definitely want to throw that in our caliber of exercises, all right? So moving on to our upper body, since we've done lower body and our core, the first movement we're going to do is going to be a great stretch to open up your chest and your shoulder girdle. So we're going to extend our arms out to the side, thumbs pointing forward, all right? And what we're going to do is we're going to just cross over and breathe out. Breathe out, let all the air out. And you can even hunch over a little bit, right? Just to open up your shoulder. And then you're going to come back out and squeeze, keep your chest up, Muhammad. And you're going to come back in and then play around with it. So if your left shoulder was on top first, then now you can put your right arm on top. So you want to exaggerate both movements. When you're going back, pick your chest up. When you're going here, cave your chest in. So again, practice doing this for about 30 to 45 seconds. The next movement and our last movement is going to be called a scarecrow. So this is specifically to target the rotator cuff muscles, right? Which get a lot of wear and tear throughout the day if you sit for too long or if you're standing for too long. So we're going to start off by picking our hands up, right? 90 degrees, so this is the starting position. So before you do the movement, make sure you're squared off and you're ready to go. And from here, you're gonna simply breathe out and place your hands down. You're gonna keep your hands moving, but your elbows are in the same place. All right, and then you're gonna externally rotate, bring them back, and then breathe out again, going down. Right, so a lot of range of motion. Shoulder, definitely take it through the range of motion it deserves. So do this movement for 30 to 45 seconds. All right, guys, this concludes our dynamic stretch routine. So stay tuned for the next video where we're gonna explain static stretching and the importance of that, and we'll see you guys soon.